students who is enrolling biochemistry course. My name is Assistant Professor Jasda Reung Surya. You can call me Ajahn Jet, which is easier. In this video, I give the lecture on the topic of cell and its components called organelles. I do believe that you all have come across this topic since high school. Some might be at the primary school. So it is a kind of recap of this topic. Before we start, let's see the objectives of this lecture. The objectives of this lecture are that after the lecture, you all are able to describe each characteristic of cellular and acellular organisms. You all are also able to differentiate between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells and identify the structure and functions of eukaryotic organelles, especially animal cells. I am sure that you can judge which is live or alive. But how can we add on some academic supports of your judge? You may recognize that living organisms must have 6 signatures of signaling and self-sustaining processes. Living organisms have metabolism, including catabolism for energy productions and anabolism for functions, storage and maintenance. Living organisms have homeostasis of everything inside the body to balance and acclimatize its functions. For example, body temperature, salt concentration, blood pressure, and blood cells must be in a homeostasis. Living organisms have ability to grow. It is included with horizontal or vertical growths. Like me, horizontal growth is a dominant. The growth is continuing whole life, entering aging and death finally. Living organisms have responses to stimuli. No any responses, there is no life. The stimuli may be extrinsic, like heat, pressure, and pollution, or be intrinsic, like starve, tired, or stomach ache. Next, living organisms have reproduction, which is required for maintaining their heredity. The reproduction may be sexual or asexual routes are counted. And the last one, living organisms have themselves naturally selected. One example is that there is only one sperm out of 100,000 can fertilize an egg to become an organism. So you now selected. Living organisms must have all 6 signatures. However, living organism can either be cellular or acellular living organisms. Starting with acellular living organisms, this group includes all kinds of viruses, such as the hot issue recently, coronavirus 2019, causing COVID-19. It further includes viroids or virus-like particles. This group of acellular organisms seem non-living outside the host, showing none of the 6 signatures. However, it fully expresses the whole signatures of living organisms when entering the host cells. Unlike prion, a causative agent of mad cow disease, wherever inside or outside the cells, prion shows no any of the 6 signatures of living organisms. But what makes prion special is that prion, which is the abnormal structure protein, strongly induces other normal prion structure to become abnormal. Replay again if you are confused. Therefore, prion is non-living, just a protein molecule with abnormal structure. Let's move on cellular organisms, which are fallen into cell theory. The cell theory includes cells are basic element of cellular living organisms. The cellular living organisms are composed of cells and cell products. And the last one, new cells are originated from pre-existing cells through cell division. Cellular living organism can be unicellular organism, meaning that one cell is one life, and multicellular organisms, one life is from many cells. If a cell is died, life still remains. Multicellular organisms have a special process called level of organization from smallest of atom to an organism. It starts from many atoms to become a molecule. Many molecules form to become a biomolecule, so-called a macromolecules. Many macromolecules form to become an organelle. And many organelles form to become cells. Many cells form to become a tissue. Many tissues form to become an organ. Many organs form to become an organ system. And many organ systems form to become an organisms. Living organisms have different in size, although they are in the same categories of living organisms. For example, human and whale, we are multicellular organisms whose categories is mammals. Different size. Okay? And all cellular organisms are classified into 5 kingdoms according to Whittaker classification system. Robert Whittaker, who raised the 5 classification systems in 1969, you all might be familiar with those 5 kingdoms from high school. Those are all prokaryotes in kingdom Monera. Unicellular eukaryotes are in kingdom Protista. Multicellular cell wall existent eukaryotes might be in the kingdom fungi or the kingdom plantae, whilst the multicellular cell wall free eukaryotes are in kingdom animalia. Continuing with prokaryotes, these organisms include all bacteria, cyanobacteria, and archaea. The similarity of prokaryotic cells is that they have no nucleus and no other membranous organelle. Their circular DNA is located in a specific area to form a structure called nucleoli. Peptidoglycan is a major component of its cell wall. There are 70S ribosomes derived from a 30S small subunit and a 50S large subunit. Plasmid DNA is also found in cytosol, and almost all metabolic processes are in the cytosol as well. Variety of eukaryotes from protist to mammal share some similarity to the cellular structure. Eukaryotes have nucleus in the enclosed membrane as well as membrane cover organelles. The DNA is localized inside the nucleus. For cell wall present organisms, Different polysaccharides are the major components, such as chitin for fungi and cellulose for plants. Again, animal cells have no cell wall, ribosome, derived from a 40S small subunit and a 60S large subunit. Metabolic processes occur both in cytosol and inside the organelles. Here is the plant cell structure containing a large vacuole, while an animal cell has nucleus largest in the cells. Before we go over each organelle, I need to clarify certain terms and agreements. In this lecture, we only focus on an animal cells and its organelle only. When we observe an animal cell under phase contrast microscope, we clearly observe the boundary of each cell, indicating the cell membrane. The largest organelle is revealed, indicating the nucleus floating inside the membrane in a gel-like material called cytoplasm. Now we can establish an equation that cells is equal to cell membrane plus nucleus plus cytoplasm. Once we further separate the cytoplasm by differential centrifugation, we can get soluble parts and insoluble parts, which are cytosol and organelles respectively. Therefore, the equation of the cytoplasm is equal to cytosols plus organelles. And what animal organelles include in this lecture are cell membrane, nucleus, nucleolus, ribosome, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, peroxisome, rhizosome, cytoskeleton, and mitochondria. Two aspects you need to know are their structures, what they look like, and their functions, what do they do, or what the job inside the cells. And that's all about this topic. I do hope you will enjoy my series of organelle in the following video. So see you next time. Bye bye.
I don't want to stay another minute. I don't want you to say a single word.